Joker, as the president of the Big Man Alliance, you are the vice president of the Big Man Alliance. You know I love you, the best player in the league. I want to congratulate you, but I want you to hear from me first. I thought the SGA should have been the MVP. That's no disrespect to you, but congratulations. And what do you guys have to do to get back on track versus Minnesota?
Thank you, Shaq. We don't judge people here, so that's fine. It's your opinion. I'm joking.
Hey, all good. I love you. I love your brothers. One thing we always gonna do is keep it real with each other.
Looks like we may have misunderstood the situation with Shannon Sharpe. Some recent revelations have come to light, and they're surprising. There's growing speculation that the scandal tarnishing Shannon's name might have been orchestrated from the very beginning. While many were quick to label him guilty and call for his cancellation, this new information is changing the entire narrative. There's now talk of a larger scheme aimed at bringing Shannon down, and surprisingly, Chris Brown appears to be supporting him. That's right, fans have been quietly speculating that major industry names like Oprah and Tyler Perry could be involved in something questionable, and Chris Brown recently surfaced with what he claims is evidence. Now, attention is turning to Shaquille O'Neal as a potential central figure in this tangled situation. The developments are getting increasingly complex. If you're wondering why Chris Brown would defend Shannon, the answer lies in their long-standing relationship. Chris made an appearance on Shannon's Club Shay podcast, and their connection was clear. But their bond goes well beyond that public interaction. They're close behind the scenes too. And one thing about Chris, he stands by his people. No matter what opinions people may hold about him, loyalty is something he takes seriously. That's why many believe he's not sitting idly by while Shannon faces backlash. He's stepping in. Now, here comes the unexpected twist. Some are suggesting Shaquille O'Neal may be involved in this supposed setup. Yes, Shaq's name is increasingly being brought up in these conspiracy discussions. But what would drive Shaq to go after Shannon? Apparently, their issues aren't new. Rumors have circulated for some time about simmering tension between the two. Things really began to escalate after the Nikola Jokic MVP controversy in 2024, which seems to have ignited this entire situation.
I don't know if you're on this kind of time, but I was in a group chat the other day, or actually just yesterday, and Shaq said he's paying top dollar for any information on old boy. So, again, I don't know if you're on that kind of time or not, but Shaq is known to throw large sums of money around, so just want to put that out there. I ain't quiet. Hey, he said, please keep it quiet. He said that Shannon did some shit back to him a while back, and he's been off him. So that's why he's doing this, but please keep his name quiet.
After that incident, both Shannon and Shaq dropped all pretense of civility. Subtle jabs turned into public shade on social media, and they began throwing indirect shots during interviews and podcast appearances. The tension quickly intensified. Then came the unexpected. Shaq released a diss track aimed directly at Shannon. Yes, an actual diss track, something no one saw coming in 2024, especially not from Shaq himself. It seemed like more than just competitive banter. This felt personal. What was once a sports-related disagreement had evolved into something much deeper and far more contentious. Honestly, considering how unpredictable 2024 turned out to be, this feud almost seems inevitable. Comedian Cat Williams wasn't exaggerating when he predicted that 2024 would be the year industry masks would start to fall off. And so far, that statement's been accurate. So, where did this all begin? The fuse was likely lit during a post-game interview after Jokic secured his third MVP title. Rather than congratulate him and keep things respectful, Shaq chose a different route. He looked Jokic straight in the eye and said he believed Shai Gilgeous-Alexander deserved the MVP instead. It was an unexpected moment, to say the least. To his credit, Jokic stayed composed and didn't let it rattle him, but fans weren't having it. The clip spread rapidly online, and not in a positive way. People were quick to call out Shaq, labeling his behavior as disrespectful, questionable, and unnecessarily attention-seeking. Many felt he overshadowed Jokic's moment just to voice his own opinion, and that didn't sit well with viewers. Basketball, Twitter, and sports media outlets erupted in criticism, with many accusing Shaq of overstepping and constantly redirecting the spotlight onto himself, even at the expense of others' accomplishments. Then came Shannon Sharpe, and he didn't hold back. On his Nightcap podcast, Shannon spoke his mind, bluntly saying Shaq came off as bitter and possibly envious of Jokie's success. It was clear Shannon had a lot to get off his chest, and this wasn't just a random commentary, it felt personal. After that, it became obvious that any chance of reconciliation between the two had likely vanished. Shaq wasn't quiet about it either. He fired back via Instagram, and this time, he was fully prepared. He posted a screenshot showing Shannon, ranked number 51 on a list of the NFL's top 100 greatest characters. But it was the caption that really got people's attention. Shaq didn't hold back. He made it clear that this wasn't just friendly banter. He wrote, "You took me standing up for Shaya's jealousy? That says a lot about your intelligence. Saying anything just to get clicks. Here's some clickbait for you. If you're not top 10 in your own sport, don't come for me. And don't forget, I know how you got where you are." That final line landed heavily. It felt more like a warning than a rebuttal. At this point, the situation had moved well beyond MVP debates. Shaq was clearly making it personal, flipping the jealousy narrative back on Shannon. "Me jealous? Sounds more like you're the one feeling that way," Shaq added, not pulling any punches. He targeted Shannon directly with a tone that felt more confrontational than competitive. The response continued with jabs about podcast gossip and clout chasing. As Shaq questioned Shannon's motives and credibility, "We don't believe you. You need more people." That's how Shaq kicked things off, and then came the R-some. Flex, 4 championship rings, 3 finals MVPs, top 50 and top 75 NBA lists. "Google me," he added, and he didn't stop there. Shaq kept the heat on, saying, "All that new fame you've got, you're still behind me." Then he really leaned in with another jab. "You don't know my grind. I work less than you, but I'm worth more. Let that sink in." He followed it up with a seemingly casual "love you too," but the tone was anything but warm. Even then, he kept going. He threw in a money shot. "If you need help getting paid, there are better ways than talking into a mic." Then came the classic Shaq move, his signature flex. "I'm too old for this," signed off as the most dominant big man ever who never even took it seriously. And just when it seemed like he said enough, he took it further. "I don't know you." Then he pulled a quote from Skip Bayless saying, "I'm better than you. G14 classification, I've got it. You don't. You're not in my league, not even in your own GOAT debate." Shaq continued, "I never aimed to be the GOAT. I aimed to be him. Call me what I am, the most dominant ever. Apex predator." But fans, they weren't convinced. The internet blew up, and most of it wasn't in Shaq's favor. His comment section quickly turned into a flood of criticism. People dragged him for overreacting to a simple podcast tape. The truth is, Shannon didn't lie. He only called out the questionable MVP comment, and Shaq responded like it was personal warfare. Viewers called Shaq's reaction petty, overly defensive, and unnecessarily loud. Some labeled him cringe, suggesting that while he demands to be the loudest voice in the room, he doesn't like it when others speak up. And if anyone thought Shaq might take a step back after the backlash, they clearly don't understand how he handles conflict. Instead of cooling off, he turned up the volume and dropped a diss track titled "The Big Man." Yes, he really did it. In the track, he went directly at Shannon, calling him soft and fake, making it clear this wasn't just banter. He wanted everyone watching. Shaq didn't stop there. He turned his Instagram feed into a performance stage. He shared the diss track's cover art and a preview, tagging a long list of celebrities as if he were assembling an all-star squad. We're talking 50 Cent, Rick Ross, DL, Hugly, Ghostface Killah, DJ Academics, Stephen A. Smith. The tags were everywhere. And the caption? More flexing. If you ever want to hear a podcast hosted by someone with G14 classification, check out the Big Podcast with Shaq. Much love. Now I'm done here. I'll be at my house in the Bahamas if anyone needs me. That closing statement had people talking, and not quietly, but then the situation got even more complicated. Out of nowhere, an audio clip surfaced. Matt Barnes was heard making bold claims that Shaq was throwing around large sums of money to anyone who could uncover damaging information on Shannon. It sounded like straight up bounty hunting. If Barnes' claims hold any truth, then that diss track was only the beginning, not the final act. Rumors quickly spread that Shaq didn't just want to win this feud. He aimed to completely bury Shannon. According to unconfirmed reports, Shaq allegedly hired someone to investigate Shannon's personal life in detail. Because of this, many people started questioning the timing of Shannon's legal troubles, wondering if Shaq had a role in stirring that mess as well. Once the audio clip began circulating, social media exploded again. Fans were shocked. Was Shaq really playing dirty behind the scenes? At this point, Shaq appeared to shift gears. Once the pressure increased, he moved from offense to damage control. But by then, the internet had already caught on. Following the leak, Shaq tried to keep his composure, acting like the accusations didn't bother him. He posted photos from his vacation home in the Bahamas, showing off palm trees and jet skis, as if nothing serious was happening. But fans weren't fooled. Comments poured in, accusing him of trying to silence Shannon and secretly throwing shade. The mood had shifted. It was no longer about being legendary. It looked desperate. Just when everyone thought things couldn't get more intense, another development hit the timeline. A well-known sports blogger famous for NBA leaks revealed that he had seen text messages allegedly proving Shaq was in contact with someone attempting to plant false stories about Shannon in the media. The pressure wasn't just on social media anymore, it was spreading into mainstream press. Meanwhile, Shannon kept a low profile. Fans noticed he stopped posting entirely for several days. No podcast clips, no tweets, not even gym selfies. That silence caused concern among his followers. Some people thought his legal team told him to lay low, while others believed he was just regrouping, preparing for a big response. By this point, the story had completely flipped. What began as podcast jabs and MVP drama had turned into what fans were calling a power play gone wrong. Shaq was starting to look more like a bully than a leader, while Shannon appeared to be holding the moral high ground. The internet was split, but one thing was clear. This was no longer just about sports. It had become a battle of egos, legacies, and control behind the scenes. With each new leak, cryptic post, and suspicious move, the tension only grew. Shaq wasn't finished yet. He returned to social media with a skit mocking the whole situation, joking about paying top dollar for dirt, treating the controversy like one big joke. In the caption, he wrote, "I got caught again. I need that info. I'm paying top dollars. Yeah, y'all so dumb, y'all believe anything." Shaq's white, depending on who you ask. This either looked like clever damage control or just another attempt to deflect. Fans were divided. Some saw it as Shaq using humor to cool things down, while others felt he was simply trying to make a joke out of a serious situation instead of taking responsibility. Many weren't convinced Shaq would really pay people to dig up dirt just to damage Shannon's reputation. They argued, come on, Shaq's a legend. He's built an empire. Why risk all that over some podcast beef? However, not everyone was ready to let him off the hook. A group of fans believed Shaq was hiding more than he admitted, pointing to how suspiciously timed Shannon's legal troubles were right when his career was picking up, especially with guests like Cat Williams exposing industry secrets on Club. Shay.so the question remains, was it all just a joke? Or is this the calm before another storm? One thing's certain, this saga isn't over. The tension, power moves, and shade are all out in the open now, and everyone is watching closely. If you've been following this roller coaster from the beginning, drop a comment and let me know where you stand, Team Shaq or Team Shannon. Do you think this is just petty drama, or is there something deeper at play? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for the realest breakdowns of the stories they don't want you to see. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next, because trust me, this story is far from finished. See you on the next one.